As I rather be. Hi, welcome everyone to today's session. It's going to be a summer hand-tied bouquet. I've selected hardy flowers because of the 2 last days we've had. I don't want them frazzling over your table too soon. I'd like you to enjoy the longer lasting flowers. So what we've decided to do is to go for our lead flower, our focal flower. I'm sure you all know this is a rose. This particular variety is called Esmerelda. She is a beauty and she's a very strong rose. Sepal petals, which you can see, they're the protective petal of the head. So I'll encourage you to just pluck the ones that are around the edge with sort of a bit of a crease and a slight bit of green marking. They've protected the flower to this stage, but we don't need them on. It just tidies the look of the rose. So that's our focal. Then I've gone for Alstroemeria lilies. These actually come from a nursery down south, and I love them because they're English, and we try to, as much as we can, buy in locally sourced flowers. Then we've gone for, does anyone know what these are?
Carnations.
AKA French dianthus. Some people don't like carnations. So I've decided to call them French dianthus. Because how can you not like that? And you should see the colours that they're producing. They're amazing. I mean, I would quite happily have these if I was to get married again, and this was my colour scheme. I would grab these all the time. So French dianthus.
Do they have any fragrance on?
The white ones all do. You might be able to get. You want to pass it around and see if anyone else gets a little hit. Maybe a slight. My nose and Mandy's nose is immune. Because we're working in flowers all the time, we miss the perfumes that are around us. So we are a little bit cheated from that. But we get to work with them, so that's better, isn't it? So does anybody know what I've got in my hand now? You're right, Anne, but there are a different variety of chrysanthemum. Thank you. And these are called Santini. It's basically a smaller head on the spray, and it's a slightly shorter stem. But I just loved those lovely lilacs and purples together with the nice deep red Esmeralda. So that's why we've gone for that one. My last flower, anyone know?
Status.
It's from the Status family. It's Limonium, but I think it is the common name. Yeah, so you were right, well done. You were listening at your own. I'll tell Jen when I see you.
He taught you well.
Yeah. And I've got 4 varieties of foliage. For those of you that don't know me, and those that, please, apologies for those of you that do know me, I love greenery. Just love it. So I like to go with a mix, because I think this is as interesting as the flowers. This is the frame and the background to the flower heads. So first of all, we've got, a bit tangled here, Salal. And if there's I haven't tidied any of your flowers up because that's part of your process of putting it hand tied together. So if I come round and there's any tatty flowers, there'll be trouble. So obviously we don't want that. Okay. But the leaves on the Salal are gorgeous. I might take away the one that someone looks like he's had a lovely meal out of, and maybe trim off those because they've got a bit of a brown edge. Unfortunately, this happens within the industry. You get marked leaves, things like that. And as florists, we learned to, before we're putting a bouquet together, we line everything up on the bench, every variety together. So you've got all your Santinis together, all your Carnations together, all your Alstroemeria, Rose, Limonium, foliages, all together, and you can see exactly where everything is. You do that, you'll love it, okay? Then we've got something, a nice little small leaf. This is called pistache, okay? Then we've got a nice variegated one called pittosporum. Just so you know. I can't tell you off if I'm not doing it, can I? And then a nice fern-shaped leaf called leather leaf, okay? So to start with, we've got balls of string on your benches to share between. You don't need a ball each. Cut a length, okay? And a little tip, put it around your neck. Put it on the bench, it'll go on the floor, it'll get wrapped up in the, and you'll have a hand tied with a lovely piece of string hanging like that.
When you say like cut a length, like how
Sorry.
much kind of? Okay.
Is that alright? I'm just saying it. Naughty. Okay. So, starting with the rose. Then we need to frame the focal to show its beauty. So I'm going to go in with the nice variegated pit. And everything I put in the front of the leader goes in this way. If you're left-handed, you might like to work the alternative way to the way I'm doing it. Then you slightly turn, and then I'm going to put the Limonium in. But because this is a nice long piece, I can get 2 sections out of that. Okay, so I'm going to leave the one that's got longer arms on for later as the bouquet gets bigger, and the tighter one for around the focal. Again, on the slant. Then I'm going to go in with my Alstroemeria. I'm going to do one side and one the other. So we've started the shape together. Then your pistache will also come in very random sizes. Always strip away any foliages that are going to hit the water, i.e. anything below my hand, okay? No greenery there. Yes, anywhere above, nowhere below. Okay, and kind of just tuck them into that space, let them feel their way, okay? Then we'll get rid of that because we don't need that tough stem, and then we can sort of echo it over to the other side, okay? Then I'm going to go in with my Carnations, which again need stripping. When you cut your Carnations, these knobbly bits are called nodes, okay? When you trim your bouquet down, do not cut in the middle of a node. There's a heck of a lot of cells in that node doing a lot of work to get that carnation to keep going. And if you cut it in the middle, the stems get squashed and then it stops the water and the uptake. So I'm just going to put these 3, 1, 2, 3 like a pattern and take away the leaves and any foliage. So I'm still checking that I've got nothing below my hand in the way of green. Okay, so it's nicely coming together. My last flowers to go in are my Santini, and just hold it out don't knock your friend over with the stems, but just stand back and just have a look at it from the top down and see, are you happy with that positioning? Do you think it needs tweaking a little bit? Okay. Then in, I'm happy with that, so I'm going to carry on. And because that's quite a full area, this isn't the thinnest one, so that's kind of telling me that it doesn't need a big chunky stem like this. It'll get away with a smaller one. Okay, slight turn and in. And then remember our piece of Limonium? Well, I'm just going to make it into 3 now, because I'm going to put 1 in here and 1 in there. And you know, if you didn't know better, you'd think you've got 3 stems of Limonium for the price of 1, but it fills it in different areas. Okay, and then I'm going to edge it with my foliage. My salal, they've got lovely long legs, so I'm going to make that into a 3 too. So I'm just going to cut as low as I can, as tight as I can to the main branch, and then in there, and I'm going to get the leather leaf in the middle. Okay, so final look. Turn it round, see if you're happy with everything, the view of it all the way round. Then get your piece of string, fold it in half like so. Get your little pinky out, pop your loop around your little finger, hold it tight, and then take the 2 ends around the top of your hand, okay? And then release the loop, pull the 2 stems, 2 lengths through, rest it on the bench and pull like so. Then we want to double knot it, tight, but not so tight where we're going to cut into the soft stems. Okay. So we're just going to leave that to one side, and now we're going to gift wrap it. So we are eco-friendly florists, or as eco-friendly as we can be. So everything we use is, as much as we can, is biodegradable. So we can't do a water bubble in paper. It's impossible. You know what I've done. End up a right mess. We've racked our brains, but we've come up with, well, we'll use biodegradable cellophane. The difference is the price, and it doesn't last forever because it breaks down. So you can't have a million rolls on the back shelf, because you come to use them next year, you might not have any stock left. So you've got to really watch what you're doing and how you're purchasing your products, okay? So we'll just leave that to one side. And then the gift wrapping on the top is craft paper. And I've gone for a nice neutral green, okay? Now we use 2 of these. I'm just gonna pop that there. And what we do is, they've all been cut to size. We pay for them to all be cut to size. So we take the 2 together, put your finger in the middle approximately, and then make 2 mountain peaks, okay? So they're your upside down peaks, yeah? Then they're folded the same length, size, etc., because we've done them together. And you get your hand tied bouquet, and then you bring your 2 sides in together and gather it like a skirt, okay? So you overlap If you just want one, that's fine because that's well covered, but if you feel like we'll go for the two, that's absolutely fine as well. So can you see me gathering in and scrunching it into that, where that tied part is? And I'll do the same on this side, tucking it and gathering it. And then squeeze it as firmly as you can. I didn't cut a length of and with the other length of string that you've cut ready, the same again. Okay, through the loop. Probably cut that too short now, but we'll make it work. Woo. Yeah, it is. Double knot. Okay. And I'm going to cut this, ready? I've got some ribbon scissors so we can cut it neater than mine's looking at the moment. Now this is the tricky bit, getting it cut to the right size. So my tip for this is lie your box on its side. Have your tying point approximately finishing at the top of our Ladybird logo. Okay? So you hold it, gather your stems in exactly like I've done because this makes life a lot easier. Okay? And then cut slightly above the bottom of your box. Once you've cut one stem, that's great, you've got your guide, okay? But remember, don't cut in the middle of an ode, so take it high, if it needs to. Take it over to your bin. Nice sharp scissors, by the way, be careful, they are sharp. So my carnations of all the nodes decided to be right where I needed to cut them, obviously, so I've cut them shorter. Don't want to leave this standing on the side for too long because they start getting dry, the stems. So get the cellophane on the deck, I'll just pop that there. Lay it out. So you've got the middle approximately there, and the middle we want the bottom of the stems. Fold your cellophane over the bottom, and then another gathering in each side, but make sure it's all above your hand. Because if you've got some cellophane that's not tucked up here, you're going to end up in a bath. Okay. Then you've got your nice decorative ribbon. I just take it around and around, tight as you can, tie, and then I do a double knot, and then I do a bow, just to make it secure. And then this is the magic bit. While you're pouring the water in, you need to look at the level as it's raising. So you watch the level as it starts to go into that bag, and you need to fill it as much as you can. Okay? And that's a whole one then, would you believe? So that's a nice full bubble of water that's going to keep those flowers as fresh as possible. Then scoop it in, and that's your hand tied bouquet. Now I want to see 13. No pressure. Right, for those of you that don't mind sitting down, there's a station for two here, and the rest are through the back.
Any questions before I turn the camera off? No, we're back on later when we've got them.
Look at the Stacey then. What?
A question.
Yeah.
When you've completed your flower box, when you take them home,
Yeah.
do you recommend that you leave them in that little pot of
Okay,
water
so
or in a vase?
I recommend that the instructions on the side are here if you forget, just on the side of all our boxes. Happy to leave them in that for a day, 2 maybe max. I'll give you a flower food sachet so that you can take them out, cut the string, have another play, do another hand tied, and put them in fresh water in the vase. Give them a trim and put half the sachet of flower food in the vase. Then, because it's so hot, I'd encourage you to change it a bit more regular than normal. So 3-4 days, get rid of the old water, and then you've got your other half of your sachet to go in the next batch. That's what I'd recommend. Obviously the weather we've been having, it's really tricky. I mean, we're lucky because we've got such a big fridge for the flowers. I don't know what we'd have done without it yesterday and the day before. So yeah, it's not easy, but there are ways that you can keep them going for a lot longer than if you just left it in there.
I've always been reluctant to take them out of the box because they come so beautiful.
Well,
And
yeah.
I stick them in a vase and it doesn't look a patch of them.
Well, you're not the only one, because I got some flowers. I wasn't well, and the girls all sent me flowers from here, and it was absolutely beautiful, and it didn't look as big. But at the end of the day, it's what's best for the flowers. If you want them to last, which we all really want to see them last as long as possible, that's what we would recommend. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, Rand. Okay, so let's have a crack at the whip.